Government has announced many sector-specific initiatives, including that for electronics and textile sectors. B, and implemented ease of doing business reforms. C, for improving trade and port infrastructure. D. What is my clue word? What's my clue word? See, the clue is in part 1, part A. Why? Because the plural subject is initiatives. Because of the clue in part A, the error is in part B, where that is referring to, you failed in AM because of this question, huh? Where it is referring to singular, but I need plural. That's why I changed that to those, okay? No, but what you need to understand, Sony, here is government has announced, meaning the announcement could have taken place a little earlier as well, right? But it is relevant to the present context. The announcement didn't happen right now, right? Not current, but the process of making that announcement or the action of doing that announcement started sometime in the past. Has announced, right? But it has bearing now. That announcement is coming to you now, right? The announcement was made. So, government has announced many sector-specific initiatives, including those for electronics and textile sectors, and implemented ease of doing business reform. So, the general context is in the past. The announcement is relevant to you right now, but what they have done is this. They have implemented ease of doing business reforms to improve trade and port infrastructure. Yeah. So, in terms of tense, you don't have to really change anything there. For example, SBI has announced that it is changing the number of seats, right? Earlier they said some 2,000 odd seats are available. Now they are saying 3,000 plus seats are available, right? So, the announcement of that happened some time back, but is it relevant to you now? Yes, it is. That's why it's a present perfect tense. So, that way you don't have to make any changes there. And in terms of, and as a result of that announcement, they've already done certain things, right? So, that can be in past tense as well. Doesn't matter. The meaning is intact, the grammar is intact. I don't have to make any changes there. Yeah. So, the error actually is in, like most of you said, is in part B. Yes, I changed that to those. Remember, somebody said electronics and textile sectors as a clue, but that's not the clue. The clue is they have included those initiatives, including those initiatives for these sectors, electronic and textile sectors, okay? Don't get confused understanding the meaning of what the context is trying to convey. Widespread monsoon rains have boosted the plants of key kharif crops such as rice, pulses and oilseeds, raising the prospects of a good servant. Where do you think the error is? And why? Understand the entire context, okay? Why? Why do you have to change that? Can somebody tell me why you want to change plants to planting? What does it mean? Increase. Okay. So, mostly when I say something is boosting something, it's either improving it or strengthening it, right? In this context, we're talking about, we're obviously referring to plants, right? So, obviously it has to be some and if you look at the remaining context, it says raising the prospects of a good harvest. That's a clue phrase for you, right? Raising the prospects of a good harvest, meaning some process that you're doing which is helping these plants grow in a flourishing manner. So, there is plenty of it, there is abundance of it, and that's why it's a good harvest, right? Raising the prospects of a good harvest. So, if you look at the context, the rains have have kind of helped the process of something, right? This particular crops. So, in the context, we are saying the rains, because we are talking about the prospects of a good harvest, we are saying what is the process that was involved in the process of producing a good harvest? I planted these crops, which is rice and pulses and oil seeds, right? So, the process led to a good harvest. The plants didn't lead to a good harvest. The process of me planting these crops and the rains kind of helping in the process led to a good harvest, right? Understand the meaning of the context. So, if you apply a little bit of logic, you can say that the plants did not help raise the prospects of a good harvest. I did something and the rains also were in favor of my action of planting those crops, and that's what helped in raising the prospects of a good harvest. The plants by themselves can't do that, no? Two things have to happen. If I plant a seed, one, I have to pour water, I have to take care of it, I have to do that first bit, right? That first bit is what is, so the process is what I need, not the product itself. Are you following? That's why the plants is incorrect. And it has to be the planting, the process of me doing that, the planting of these crops and the rain adding to it helped in raising the prospects of a good harvest. Yeah, that's why the error is in part B. Are you following? Yeah, so just put 2 and 2 together. The idea is for us to understand the context as well. Beside the high-speed train, India and China have agreed to cooperate to increase speeds on the existing railway line from Chennai to Mysore via Bengaluru. Where is the error? Is there an error at all? But between A and C. So those who say A, Y. Those who say C, Y. Besides instead of beside, okay. What about those who said option C? What do you want to change there? Some of you came back and said part C, right? What is wrong with that? See, I agree that most of you have come back and said that the error is in part A, because obviously, right, beside is more of a preposition or an adverb where it says in addition or next to, right? So obviously I need to change that to besides, no doubt about it, right? Besides the high speed train, apart from that or in addition to that, India and China have agreed to cooperate to increase speeds on the existing railway line from Chennai to Mysuru via Bangalore. Okay. And some of you came back and said speeds. Now, grammatically, speeds is the plural form, noun form of speed. Have we looked at that? Have we come across those that particular plural noun number in other example sentences? Yes. So grammatically, it's correct, and in the context, it does make sense because we're looking at India and China have agreed to cooperate to increase the speeds on the existing railway line, meaning obviously we're talking about more than one trains plying on the line, right, from Chennai to Mysuru via Bengaluru. So we're talking about the speeds of those individual trains, which will be many trains at the end of the day. So I don't necessarily have to change that. In fact, even if I feel that is an error, there is a more obvious error in part A, right? I would not pay attention to the error in part C because it's really not an error. If I look at the context, we're talking about more than one train plying on that particular railway line. So, besides but is very obvious, right? I can't say next to the high speed train. He sits beside me. Right, that's the meaning, and that's not the meaning the context needs. The context is talking about apart from, in addition to the high speed train. Yeah, so obviously the error is in part A, change beside to besides. That's the more obvious error. Even if you're confused between the other part, you can choose the most obvious error, which is changing the entire meaning of the context, right? So your priority should be option A and not any other part A and not any other part. So basically the context is talking about, boss, in that existing railway line, whatever trains are plying, we are, let's increase the speed on each and every train that plies on that railway line. So that manner, speeds is fine. Okay. From Chennai to Bangalore. So whichever train plies from Chennai to Bangalore, Chennai to Mysuru via Bangalore, we will increase the speed.